I have to go back to that.
Please be seated. All right. That'll do fine. Thank you. Deputy Lord Lieutenant, Honorary Freeman, Aldermen, Reverends, members of the Council and distinguished guests, welcome to South Ribble Borough Council's mermaking ceremony for 2024-2025. Thank you all very much for attending, and I hope you have an enjoyable evening. There are no planned fire alarms this evening. If the alarm goes, please do note that it's not a test. The main fire exits are located through the adjoining doors to my left and right, and we are asked to assemble at the far side of the main car park. Please can I ask that all mobile phone devices are switched off or placed on silent mode. Thank you. Item 1, apologies for absence. Are there any apologies?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Lillis, Councillor Stringfellow, Councillor Ria and Councillor Gabbett send their apologies.
Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest. Can I assume that there are no declarations of interest on this ceremonial occasion? Smashing. Item 3, nomination and election of the Mayor for 2024-2025, Peter Molyneux. Councillor Karen Walton to propose. Can I ask you to come up to the microphone, please?
Deputy Lord Lieutenant, Mr. Mayor, Honorary Freeman, Aldermen, Reverend, fellow councillors, distinguished guests, boys and girls. It is an honour and a privilege to be asked to propose Councillor Peter Molyneux for the role of Mayor for South Ribble Borough Council for the municipal year 2024-25. Peter was born and bred in Bolton and is a lifelong supporter of Bolton Wanderers Football Club, and I commiserate with what happened last weekend. Peter had a very happy childhood, and until the age of 9, when his mother died, and his family had to really pull together to make ends meet to help to prevent the family breakup. They faced many ups and downs during this period and eventually got through it. But on a positive note, it provided them with the opportunity to bond together and help one another, which really did help to form lifelong close relationships with Peter's older brother, Stephen, and older sister, Linda. Peter's father, unfortunately, never recovered from Peter's mother's death and slowly deteriorated until his death when Peter was in his early 20s. Peter was educated in Bolton at Pike Lane Junior School and then moved on to White Bank Senior School, which allowed him, when leaving school, to gain an apprenticeship and begin work as an engineering apprentice at Dobson and Barlow's, a local engineering firm in Bolton who manufactured and assembled textile and bottling machinery. After serving his time as an apprentice, he began working for GEC, based in Trafford Park, Manchester, working in heavy engineering as a boring machine setter, operator on outer casings for turbine generators. This was literally the most boring job Peter had ever, and he remembers when leaving the company, his foreman had said to him, "You'll never get a job as good as this one," to which Peter replied, "If I ever get a job as boring as this, I'm going to shoot myself." Peter then began working for Ingersoll Rand in Wigan, manufacturing pneumatic tooling components on the very latest NC and CNC automatic machines. Then a few years later, Peter began working at BAC, British Aircraft Corporation in Preston, now better known as BAE Systems, employed as a planning machine tool programmer, engineer, and then gained promotion to the role of departmental manager. After 15 years at BAE Systems, Peter, with his vast knowledge of engineering and contacts in the industry, decided to move on and start a new career in recruitment, working for Inbis, a subcontractor company specialising in nuclear and aerospace engineering based in Bamber Bridge where he quickly moved up the ranks to become the overall recruitment manager for the company and worked there for a number of years before finally becoming employed at recruitment companies in Manchester and St Helens until his retirement. Peter has lived in the Preston area for the last 40 years, of which 25 years have been spent in South Ribble. And for his sins, he has now seen the light and supports Preston North End, as well as Bolton Wanderers Football Club. But Peter is a family man. He's a father of 3, Andrew, Sam and Constance, and has 4 adored grandchildren, Lily, Noah, Abel and Isabel, which are here tonight to support Peter. And he enjoys a large family support network and spending much valued time with them. Peter likes all kinds of sports and in his youth played football for Bolton and represented Lancashire in the English Cross Country Championship. In his later years, he enjoyed fell and marathon running, achieving a best marathon time of 3 hours, 5 minutes. And for those of you who follow marathons will know this time is a real achievement to be proud of. But now being realistic, Peter can only dream of running up and down Rivington Park before his breakfast as he once did, and now enjoys watching sport rather than participating. But he is hopeful that his children, or more likely his grandchildren, will carry on the enjoyment of running as he has done in the past. Peter has always been interested in politics, being elected in 2003 as a councillor for South Ribble Borough Council, representing the Salisbury and Walton ward, and has continued to represent the ward for over 20 years, being re-elected again on the 4th of May last year for a further 4 years. Peter has a great deal of knowledge and experience concerning the ward he represents and how the council works. He has served on several committees, being both vice chairman, chairman, cabinet member and portfolio holder, deputy leader and leader of the council, an achievement to be very proud of. Over the years, Peter has made many friends through his work and colleagues from the council. Many of them are here tonight to celebrate this honour in achievement in becoming the Mayor-elect of South Ribble Borough Council in its 50th anniversary year. And also from the friends who cannot be here tonight to celebrate with him. They send all their congratulations and best wishes. And I personally thank Peter for his guidance and support over the years and for his dedication and commitment to his role as councillor and to the residents of the borough. I would like to express my thanks to the outgoing Mayor, Councillor Chris Lomax, and the Mayoress, Mrs Kim Lomax, for all their dedication and hard work during the past municipal year, and I hope that they will be able to enjoy a well-earned rest after tonight. Peter is honoured to have been given the opportunity to be proposed as the Mayor of South Ribble Borough Council, and with Margaret as his consort, he will represent the borough with great dignity and pride. And so, in conclusion, I would like to formally propose Councillor Peter Molyneux as the Mayor of South Ribble Borough Council for the municipal year 2024-25.
Thank you. Councillor Margaret Smith to second. Can I ask you to come up to the microphone, please?
Deputy Lord Lieutenant, Mr Mayor, Honorary Freeman, Alderman, Reverend, fellow guests, officers of the Council, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls. It is my pleasure this evening to second the nomination of Councillor Peter Molyneux to become our Mayor for the municipal year 24-25. As I understand it, Peter and Margaret have been busy this year, undertaking a number of engagements as a deputy to the Mayor. So a few weeks ago, Peter and Margaret took the opportunity to have a break in readiness for the upcoming year's events. They took themselves off on a cruise around the Med for a couple of weeks. I know they very much enjoy cruising a few times a year. They enjoy sightseeing and generally relaxing at sea in the knowledge that the upcoming year will be a marathon similar to what you used to run, Peter. being in the long haul, but that's what the two of you are all about. As previously mentioned, Peter had been elected a member of this council for over 20 years, representing Salisbury and Walton. I had the pleasure of serving with him over that time. I am sure with his long service to the community, he will find the diversity of events that they will be attending interesting and fascinating. During this time on the council, he has served as chair of committees, been a member of the cabinet with various portfolios, and Peter for a number of years was my deputy when I was leader of the council, before going on to become leader himself. And we have worked very well together over all those years. Last year at this time, Peter commented to Karen and myself that this was not his night. That was for another time and another place. Well, my goodness me, here we are in that time and place, and how quickly that year has flown. But nevertheless, to say Peter and Margaret, I know, have enjoyed their time as deputies, performing their duties diligently as and when required. You may not know this, but some years ago, Margaret was the Mayor of Preston and Peter was her consort. So they already have, to a degree, been here before and are well experienced in what is required of the office of Mayor and how the chain gang works. It only leaves me to thank the outgoing Mayor and Mayoress and wish them all the best for the future, and hope you have a good rest after such a hectic municipal year. I would now like to formally second the motion that Councillor Peter Molyneux is voted into the office of Mayor for 2024-25, along with Margaret as his Mayoress. I so move. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much for that, Margaret. We're now going to move to the vote. This is for members of the council only. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Clearly carried. Thank you very much.
Retiring Mayor, Councillor Chris Lomax, will now present the chains of office to the new incoming Mayor and Mayoress, Councillor Peter Molyneux and Mrs Margaret McManus.
I sit here, yeah.
Can we move to item 4, appointment of Mayor's chaplain? I announce that my chaplain for the mayoral year will be Reverend Hannah Boyd, Vicar of All Saints, Higher Walton and Holy Trinity.
The Mayor will now sign the declaration of acceptance of office. Thank you.
I, Councillor Peter Molyneux, having been elected to the office of Mayor of South Ribble Borough Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. Thank you. Very much. Deputy Lord Lieutenant, Honorary Freeman, Aldermen, Reverends, members of the Council, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Can I start by thanking all of you for attending this evening's mayoral installation ceremony. Having my family and friends here this evening is really important to me. My thanks to Councillor Karen Walton, for proposing me, and to Councillor Margaret Smith, for seconding me this evening, and for all your kind words. It was much appreciated. Thanks also go to my Conservative group members for their continued support, and to all other members of the council for giving me this wonderful opportunity. A big thank you also goes to the mayoral team who have worked so hard and been so helpful. I would also very much like to take this opportunity to give a special thanks to the outgoing mayor and mayoress for their hard work and their help they have given me and my mayoress Margaret over the last 12 months, and I wish both Chris and Kim all the very best for the future. It's a great honour and a privilege for me to be the Mayor of South Ribble and become the first citizen of the borough for the municipal year 2024-25. And now, before I forget, there is one person here tonight who has been with me for the last 12 months as my deputy mayoress, and tonight becomes the mayoress. And that person is Constance Margaret McManus, but known to most people as Margaret. I've known Margaret for over 40 years, and she's without doubt a very special friend and confidant, and is as excited as I am, and is very much looking forward to our mayoral year ahead. This situation is not new to Margaret or myself. The roles have just been reversed. Margaret was a Preston councillor for a good number of years until she stepped down a couple of years ago and became an honorary alderman for the city of Preston. Sticky pages. And that's a position that she still holds today. In 2015, Margaret had the honour of being the Mayor of Preston and I was her consort. And now I have the honour of being the Mayor of South Ribble and she is my Mayoress. I do wonder if there has been a situation like this before, for the same two people to be lucky enough to be both Mayor and consort and Mayor and Mayoress for two different councils. This may well be worth looking into a little further. You never know, it could be history in the making this evening. And now on to my charities. My two main charities are going to be St Catherine's Hospice and the Alzheimer's Society. I will also be supporting Galloway's Society for the Blind and Tender Nursing Care. All of my charities do a marvellous job in their respective fields, and I am proud to be supporting all of them. And finally, I am very much looking forward to the year ahead and will enjoy meeting and greeting people all across all areas of South Ribble, and will try my very best to follow on in the footsteps of previous mayors of this great borough of South Ribble. Thank you. Move to item 6, tribute to the retiring Mayor, Councillor Chris Lomax. The Leader of the Council, Paul Foster, to propose. Please can you come to the...
I'll start, Mayor. May I congratulate you on your appointment and hope you and Margaret have all the best in the next 12 months. Congratulations. Deputy Lord Lieutenant, Mr Mayor, Honorary Freeman, Alderman, Reverend, Councillors and distinguished guests. Councillor Chris Lomax and his wife Kim have diligently and passionately represented the office of the First Citizens of South Ribble in their roles as our Mayor and Mayoress for the past 12 months. Regardless of the event, the weather or the time, never would you meet two happier, approachable or genuinely likeable individuals. I've had the privilege of supporting a number of their charity events, each one very bespoke, each one very well attended, and each one thoroughly enjoyable, albeit I never did quite win the wheelbarrow of beer. Taking on the role of Mayor and Mayoress is challenging. School children want to meet you. Our local charities want to meet you. Garden Fates want you to open their prized events. At times, even the Lord Lieutenant himself will summon you. But as challenging as the diary events are, it was always of the utmost pleasure for Chris and Kim to represent our communities, and they most certainly did us all proud. I recall when Chris was first approached about taking on the role of mayor, he was rather nervous, humble, and not certain it was something he could do. The past 12 months have certainly proved that it was something he could most certainly do, and each and every member of the council humbly thanks you, Chris. Usually, Mr. Mayor, a gift would be bestowed on the retiring mayor and mayoress. However, following significant feedback, this year will be a slight change to tradition, with the retiring mayor's final act being that of having his guitar and songbook confiscated and his red braces retired. Joking aside, it gives me huge pleasure in formally proposing, on behalf of South Ribble Borough Council, the formal vote of thanks to the retiring Mayor, Councillor Chris Lomax, and the Mayoress, Mrs. Kim Lomax. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Councillor Claire Hunter to second. Please will you come to the microphone, Claire?
Well, there's not a lot I can say after that, but good evening, Deputy Lord Lieutenant, Mr. Mayor, Honorary Freeman, Alderman of the Borough, Reverend, fellow councillors and distinguished guests and boys and girls. So there's nothing much more I can say that's not already been said, other than a massive thank you. I was very honoured to second you to be elected, and I'm very happy you're going to be back in the ranks of councillor now, Chris. Get stuck back in with us now. So I feel the future speeches may be slightly different. So we'll have to wait and see on that one, Peter, and see what comes out. But the Mayor and Mayoress have done an amazing job. Fantastic for the charities, raising money, visiting the borough, you've done us proud, you've done South Ribble proud, and you should be very proud of yourselves. So thank you for the hard work and dedication, and many thanks to both of you. And welcome to the new Mayor and Mayoress.
Okay, we now go to the vote. All in favour by show of hands, and this is just members of the council only. Please raise your hands now. Thank you, that's carried. The retiring mayor will now respond. Certainly.
Thank you. Deputy Lord Lieutenant, Mr. Mayor, Honorary Freeman, Alderman, Reverends, Councillors and distinguished guests. That's a lot of you. Wow, wow, wow. What a wonderful year. Lots of highlights, festivals, opening gardens, wonderful food, cake, cake. The most used joke of the year from me. I was always offered cake and I said, apologies, I am a type 2 diabetic. I have to save all my sugar for alcohol. And it normally got a bigger laugh than that, I'll be honest. There's an old saying in lots of religious books, it is better to give than to receive. With that in mind, I have a little thanks for Dave, our attendant, and our secretary, Claire. So if you come up, please. Another little quote from good books. It is better to serve than be served. We attended all we could. We sat, we listened to people's problems. We chatted to those with dementia, but we also celebrated success all over the borough. And to anyone who would listen, I told them what a wonderful place South Ribble was to live and do business. We even attended the opening of envelopes because I was told if someone wants to open an envelope in front of you, that envelope is really important and you should go. So we did. Prior to becoming your first citizens, Kim generally helped out at the back of events we attended. I was happy to mingle at the back, throwing in my 2 penneth every now and again. But we were invited to the top table as honoured guests and asked to serve the people of this great borough to the best of our abilities. Kim, I couldn't have done it without you. And I'm just so pleased that you allowed me to set that bar so low that I could just about get over it. Thank you for forgiving my foibles. I have many, don't I? Yeah. But then again, you must forgive your brother, not 7 times, but 77 times. However, after the last council meeting, the officers gave me lines, 100 lines. I shall not throw cake across the council chamber while the council is in session. I would again. We are grateful for all the opportunities South Ribble gave us over the year. I will relate just a very few. We had a visit to the palace, which was fantastic, extremely tiring, and everyone I know who goes down there ends up just resting for 3 hours. And apparently next time we go, they might let us through the gates. Riding on the front of the Leyland Festival on the Portmobile with a lady called Nanny Ice Pop. Half the people in Lancashire seem to be related to Nanny Ice Pop because they were out throughout the crowd, and she got on there because she was the oldest citizen to apply to go on there, and it was her family that did it. And she was wonderful. She stood up all the way waving, and we're travelling at the majestic speed of 4 to 5 miles an hour. And every time we hit a speed bump, her hands would come down and clench on my buttocks. But Nanny Ice Pop, if this is being recorded, you were fantastic. We visited the King's Royal Hussars. We inspected the tanks and the regiment. We got to play on the tanks. It was fantastic. So much silverware down there. They even had a solid silver gazunder, a potty, a paw, plundered from the wagon train of Napoleon's brother. And we got to drink champagne from it. I never liked champagne, but that was the best champagne I have ever had, and it was fabulous, and it was clean. Just so many honours. But what will we take most from this year? The residents, the volunteers, those who quietly get on with helping others, supporting their communities and boroughs, food larders, litter pickers, residents associations, carnival committees, the list goes on. Lastly, thank you for supporting my charities, St Catherine's, Tender Nursing Care and Tippy Toes. South Ribble, you have done us the greatest honour, and we thank you. Mr. Mayor.
We'll now present the retiring mayor and retiring mayoress with commemorative badges. Now we move to item 7, nomination and election of the Deputy Mayor for 2024-25, Councillor Paul Wharton Hardman. Councillor Jackie Alty to propose. Could you make your way to the microphone? Thank you.
Good evening. They put heels on, but hey. Deputy Lord Lieutenant, Mr. Mayor, Honorary Freeman, Aldermen, Reverends, Councillors, and distinguished guests, and that does include all children and anybody not previously categorised. I'm delighted to propose Councillor Paul Wharton Hardman, BEM, for the honour of Deputy Mayor of South Ribble for 2024-2025. Having worked closely with Councillor Wharton Hardman for the past few years, I am convinced he will prove himself to be worthy of both the privilege and the title conferred this evening. Paul demonstrates an enthusiasm to support, serve, and deliver in every position he holds, and in the role of Deputy Mayor, I am quite sure that he will be an asset to all who call on him. And in summary, I am privileged for the opportunity of proposing Councillor Paul Wharton Hardman as Deputy Mayor of South Ribble for 2024-25, and I wish him all the very best.
Can we have Councillor Aniela Belinsky-Gelder to second? Can you come to the mic? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening to the Deputy Lord Lieutenant, Mr. Mayor, Honorary Freeman, Aldermen, Reverend, Councillors and distinguished guests. It is my privilege to second Councillor Paul Wharton Hardman as Deputy Mayor for the year 2024-25. Paul is a dedicated community councillor who cares deeply about South Ribble. Thank you, Mayor.
Can I ask for all in favour by show of hands, members of the council only? Please raise your hands now. Thank you. That's carried by a majority. Thank you.
The Mayor will now present the change of office to the Deputy Mayor and Deputy Mayor Consort.
Something. The Deputy Mayor will now sign the declaration and acceptance of office. Thank you.
I, Councillor Paul Wharton Hardman, having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of South Ribble Borough Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability.
The Deputy Mayor will now respond.
Deputy Lord Lieutenant, Mr Mayor, Honorary Freeman, Aldermen, Reverends, Councillors and distinguished guests. I want to begin by wholeheartedly thanking all of my fellow councillors for placing their confidence and trust in me and electing me as Deputy Mayor of South Ribble. Your support really means a lot to me and I promise not to let you or our communities down. It's such a privilege to take on this role and both Chris and I are excited to represent our borough as Deputy Mayor and Consort. I want to thank my family and friends for their support, something I know I can count on over the coming year. I also want to extend my best wishes to our Mayor and Mayoress, wishing you a very enjoyable 12 months ahead. Peter and Margaret, I hope your year is filled with many memorable experiences and happy memories you'll cherish for years to come. Recently, someone reminded me of the key virtues associated with the morality: courtesy, humility, responsibility and honour, guiding principles that I intend to live up to in my role as Deputy Mayor. I know we're all keen to have a glass of wine now, or maybe just me, so I'll end there and thank you all for listening.
Deputy Lord Lieutenant, Honorary Freeman, Aldermen, Reverends, members of the Council and distinguished guests, boys and girls, that now concludes the business for this evening. And can I thank you all for attending? And I do hope you enjoyed the ceremony as much as I have. And please help yourself to a drink in the crossroom and await the return of myself and the Mayoress to officially open the buffet this evening. And I do hope you can join myself and the Mayoress. And thank you all once again for coming this evening. Thank you.
Can you please be upstanding as the mayoral party retired?